Hello everyone. Today is a Sunday, and Sundays are one of the hardest days for me because Lynn always made a big deal about Sundays. We would just sit and relax with each other. He always made a great big meal. It always had a baked potato and pork chops sometimes, or a steak sometimes, and then he always enjoyed some kind of a dessert, and usually that was brownies. So I don't like being home after I get out of church. I try to go and just explore a little bit. So travel along with me as we go see some wild horses. As I drive out of my subdivision, I thought I would tell you a little bit more about me. I was actually a rodeo girl. I grew up with a mother that enjoyed horses, and so she always had probably about 3 or 4 horses at a time. My older brother Ronald, he enjoyed horses as well, and I believe he purchased his own horse. I think she was a paint named Peggy, and he would ride her without a saddle or a bridle or anything. But when I got older, and after my parents' divorce, my mother bought several horses. She was raised on a farm, and her father raised mules, and they also had work horses. And so my mother fell in love with horses. So when she divorced my father, she was able to purchase several horses of her own, and that's where the love of horses came in for me. I started horse 4-H, and I would run the barrels. I would do pole bending. Golly, it's been so many years I can't remember all of the terms. Western, yeah, where we walked. Anyway, Keyhole was one of my favorites, and the horse that I had was an Arabian, and her name was Blue. So going out and looking for these wild horses is very therapeutic for me. I enjoy just sitting out in the field and watching them. We don't have as big of a herd here in the Uinta Basin that you see on the internet, like the ones over by Tooele. Those are much bigger herds. I don't know the reason why. I don't follow and try to figure any of that out. But this is just something that I really enjoy doing. So hopefully you'll enjoy going on this little journey with me as we go look for some wild horses. Okay, I've been trying to think of some other things that I can tell you about me. When Mandy, the 9-year-old, passed away, my oldest son was leaving to go on a mission in just a few months, and my youngest was getting old enough that she was going to start school, and I was a little concerned about being home alone, feeling like I had all these children, and then all of a sudden 2 of them were gone. One was leaving and going on a mission, and one passed away. So I decided to keep myself busy and go back to school. In that amount of time, I don't know how many years it took. I would say about 15 years I was in and out of school. I went back, I hadn't graduated from high school at that point, so my first thing I did was go back to school to what was called adult ed. I started in August, and I graduated and finished in February. The teacher didn't like that I just was there just to get a degree, but that was really my purpose of going there, was to get my high school diploma so that I could further my education. After that, I really wanted to do computers. For some reason, I love IT, and I love the hardware part of it, and so I was building computers for friends, and if friends had any issues with their computer, I'd go over and fix their computer. And I kind of got scared thinking I needed to be licensed to do that. I didn't want to get in trouble if if I ever, did any harm. So I went back to school, and I got it's hard to say this because it's also a nursing term. So I got my Certified Network Administrating, which is CNA, which also is a nursing term, but mine is a Certified Network Administrating. And that means that I can take a group of computers and make them talk to each other, and I just absolutely loved that. From there, I really enjoyed learning a little bit more about software at that point instead of just hardware. So I wanted to learn how to do web development. So I went back to school and I got a degree in web development. I also wanted to dabble a little bit more in Photoshop. I started Photoshop back when it was more in the DOS program, not quite as much software. So whatever Photoshop program was out there, the very first was where I started. I'm still not very good with software. Software goes a little bit fast for me. I'm still better with hardware. But then after that, I started my own business, and it was called Sew and Soul's Place, and that was SEW-N-SEWS. I thought it was just funny if I answered the phone and I said so-and-so's place. Anyway, just an inside joke. At that point, my baby was a senior, and I was homeschooling her, so she helped run that store with me. I'd only had it, I think, for less than a year when I got the opportunity to purchase another store, which was called Inspirations, and it was a really, really big store and a lot of work. I did that one for 4 years, and the reason I had to close that one down is when I started, the owner of the building was charging me $800 a month, and in 4 years my rent went to $8,000 a month, and I just I couldn't make any money at that, so I had to close that one down. After I closed Inspirations, I went and took a job as an administrative assistant for a local architect firm, and I was only there for 9 months. They let me go. They said that I wasn't a good fit for them. So after that, I decided I wanted to pursue photography. So I went to school and I got my master's in photography, and I've been doing that since 2015. When COVID hit, I was shooting for people through their window so that I wasn't one-on-one with them. And then Lynn passed away, and so my photography has taken a back burner quite a bit. So now, with Lynn's passing, my oldest son asked me, "What do you want to do this time?" Referring to when Mandy passed away. I went back to school and I got all these degrees, and I said, I think I have enough degrees, but I would really like to work more on myself. So when the van came into my possession and I started watching van life things, I thought I would like to learn cinematography. So I'm taking some cinematography courses, and I can tell you this is really not something easy for me. But then photography wasn't easy in the beginning either. So I'm so grateful that you guys just are really patient with me and give me grace as I make all these mistakes, and my videos are probably super boring. But this is something I want to do, not only to make my videos look better, but to document this time of my life. When Mandy passed away, a friend of mine gave me a recorder and encouraged me to talk into that so that I could share my experiences of what I was doing. And so things have really evolved in those 26 years, and now we have all of this technology at our hands. So I'm really interested in learning cinematography and documenting my journey after losing my husband. Sorry, I get emotional on Sundays. I really miss him a lot on Sundays. Anyway, I want to document this journey, but I also want to document it for my grandchildren. This is how they follow my journey. They get to see where I'm at. I have 6 of my grandchildren live close to me, and so it's really hard for me to be away from them. And so by doing these videos, I feel like I can talk to my grandchildren and I can share with them the world that I'm seeing and be able to talk to them this way. I am so grateful for technology. I have 4 grandchildren that live back east, and I hope to be able to go visit them this summer and spend a little bit of time with them. So on that same note, I wanted to share a little bit in all these van life videos that I've been watching and other videos. When people put their self out there like I'm doing right now and talking to you, my life is out there to be judged and viewed by several people. And I see some harsh comments that people have to read or are subjected to just by putting their self out there. And I want you to know that if I receive any of those type of comments, I will delete them. And if it gets really to a point where it's detrimental to me, then I will turn the comments off. I want you to think about what you're saying before you make a comment, because all 11 of my grandchildren are watching these videos. They will be able to read and see what you say. And so I want you to be really thoughtful before commenting and think about yourself. Is this something that you would want your children, your grandchildren, your best friend, or anybody to be reading and seeing what you have written? So we have to be really careful to be kind and thoughtful to everybody around us. I want my grandchildren to know that this world is a beautiful place to live in, and that there are so many good people in it. So I hope that if I say anything that doesn't go along with your beliefs, or if I don't do it the way that you do, that you will just keep that to yourself and know that this is the way I do things. And I'm learning as I go along, as all of us learn when we're first doing things. So I just am grateful for this opportunity to document and to be able to visit with my grandchildren through technology. So we've drove through a few of the smaller communities here, and we're coming upon Ouray, and that's where the wild horses are. We're still quite a few miles away from there, but I wanted to show you the place that Lynn and I would always stop at and get a burger and fries. Their homemade fries are just out of this world. Sometimes he would get a burger which is really big, a really huge burger with the homemade buns and everything. And I would get a Navajo taco, which they call Indian tacos now. So it's their fry bread with beans and toppings on that. So I just will turn the camera around and show you the place that we would stop for our fun little date. On a side note, I thought I would let you know, we would also do this drive on our motorcycles. Lynn grew up on motorcycles and I did not. And so I think I was in my early 40s when he bought me a Harley Davidson. I'd never rode a bike before in my life, so it was very terrifying for me to learn. But I learned, and this is the drive that we would take on our motorcycle. So I'll turn the camera around. We're coming up on it on the left-hand side of the screen. It's been under many different management. Right now it's under management that calls it Jensen's Hitching Post Cafe and Store. They're not open today, but I came here a few weeks ago and I ordered some food and I took pictures of the inside of it. So I just wanted to show you this quaint little place. It is a cafe on the right hand side, and on the left hand side it's more of a convenience store. Just a really quaint, fun place. The people are just amazing. I just enjoy them.
No, it comes up in this row on this side.
So if you're ever out this way, here's their signage so that you can go ahead and call ahead if you want. You don't have to. It's never busy. I take that back. Around pheasant hunting season, it is very busy because there are people that fly in from all over and go on these pheasant hunts, and this is part of their package. They get to come here and have a nice meal. So during pheasant hunting time is when it's busy. I'm going to turn the camera on and hopefully you can see, like if you look over to the left, you can see I live in an area where there's oil field. Not oil fields, sorry. There's oil wells everywhere, and it's just a rich oil industry, stopped to let Millie go potty and to explore a little bit. Just wanted to show you how beautiful this area is that I live in. This is where I was born and raised. I have never left my hometown. I still live in the same place. Look at this. It's just gorgeous. Well, it's been an enjoyable day for me, and I hope you enjoyed being able to see a little bit of where I live and what's around me. There's so much more. There's a place called Fantasy Canyon, and I suggest that you Google that and see what that's like. And hopefully sometime I'll take you over there and see what Fantasy Canyon is like. So I'm gonna head home now. The sun is setting, and it takes me about an hour to get home.